Story 1. AITA for not wanting to help my sister with her abusive relationship this time? Posted by u/strong-succotash592. Sorry for the repost, realized I left some context out of my first post, and it wasn't letting me edit it. I accidentally deleted it. Mods, take down this post if you must. I received a phone call from my cousin and am emotional and wanted to add more detail but messed up the edit. So I am 28 and my sister is 26. We were both raised in America, but our parents are immigrants, and they left the country 9 years ago after my sister graduated high school to retire in our home country. My sister has had a boyfriend, who I will call Jared. Jared was very abusive to her and used to beat her, etc. My sister did not want to leave him. She was 19 at the time, and it was tough, but I got her out of there, and we filed a restraining order against him. She was 21 when it happened. I do not think she is a stable person and never thought so even growing up, and she is not a good relationship partner, not that she deserved Jared at that point in time. I genuinely think my parents gave her the princess treatment and spoiled her. She expects every partner to put her on a pedestal, and she can do no wrong. Anyway, when she was 22, she wanted to date my best friend, Mark. I told her to leave him alone and told Mark he could do better, to be perfectly honest. But she pestered him and me, and Mark said since I'm his homie, my sister cannot be that bad and I may be biased. I warned the dude, but Mark and my sister got together and were in a relationship for 18 months. She cheated on Mark and went back to Jared. Her excuse for cheating attacked some physical insecurities Mark had. I was very disappointed and told her that if she went to the guy that beat her, I would never help her again, because getting her out of that situation was hell. And she cheated on a perfectly good guy and broke him in the process. I told her she can break up with Mark, whatever. I think it was a mistake and she did it in a terrible way, but she cannot have a relationship with me if she wants to be with a dude that literally abused her. She chose Jared, because he changed. I cut her off entirely. Mark is a homie, and he turned to alcoholism, but therapy got him out of it. It's been 2 years. Mark still struggles with insecurity. He has never once held it against me though and encouraged me to not let go of a family bond for his sake, but I made the choice. I see the dude, my homie who took care of my dad when I wasn't there by his side for a surgery recovery, a man I consider a brother, struggle to this day because of her. He has not been on a single date because of the way she attacked his insecurities and cheated on him. It makes me seethe when I think about the way she treated him. Worst part is he did everything right. Remembered all the anniversaries, gifts, cooked for her and paid the bills, while she did nothing. Planned a family with her. She threw it all away like dropping a glass vase and left him shattered. I am forever grateful he didn't judge me for her actions, because if a woman treated me that way, I don't know if I could ever look anyone related to her in the eye again. Anyway, around last week, lo and behold, Jared was being abusive to her, and my parents called me and begged me to help her. She has nowhere to go, and she should crash at my house. I said no, hung up, and haven't picked up my parents' phone call either. Today, my sister showed up at my effing workplace. She had a black eye, bruises everywhere, cuts, etc. It was a horrible sight to behold, to be honest. I almost felt like throwing up seeing her like that. She then made a scene, begging me to take her home to my house. I looked like a jerk to everybody at my workplace. She was begging me not to abandon her, and that you are the only family in this country that she has. I took her outside and tried to calm her down. But, ultimately, I told her she is not staying with me. She started making a scene, falling to the ground and clasping my leg. I kinda lost it and started anger crying here, in the parking lot, where people could see me from work. I told her to F off, and that I would call the cops on her and ask the building to get her trespassed. I don't know if I could, I was bluffing here. I effing left her there and turned around. She walked away on her own, I don't know where she went, after 10 to 15 minutes. Awkward ass situation she put me in, and I had to explain at work. They all think I am the jerk for not helping her out, but my boss knows my situation. My boss is Mark's cousin. He was the connection that got me the job. Of course, I am a jerk to people at work, and to people in my family. My parents want to remove me from the will for leaving her bruised and not helping her in a parking lot. Cool, they can go ahead and do that, not like I need anything from them. My female cousin all think I am a monster. My other cousin, a dude, lives in Canada. He is preparing to come down here to help her. But he is not in Canada right now. The earliest she can get help from him is a week from now. My mom and dad are recovering from something and are under strict orders not to travel, but they want to break that and travel anyway. We will see. Anyway, my cousin, he called me a few minutes ago and blasted me for being a piece of crap, and said I can't let my sister suffer like this. None of these effers know what I have been through. I have TMJ from getting my jaw decked by Jared. I can't fix it with Botox, I need invasive surgery if it gets worse. He showed up to my previous place of employment when I took my sister in the first time, and made a scene that isolated me socially. I risked everything, had to threaten him with a weapon once. If he called the cops on me, I could have jeopardized my career with something. She ruined my best friend, after I begged her not to go after the guy. And, after all of it, she still chose him. F me and everything I did for her. I was 23 years old. I was effing scared too. Jared is 2 years older than me. My parents effed off and let me handle everything, just occasionally visiting her. I don't consider her family anymore. I don't want to help her. I don't know what to do. I don't understand how my family or anyone can think I am in the wrong here. And it may seem brutal, but after everything, she can sleep in the bed she made. I know it's not right, but I feel like she has brought this on herself. Just because I am her older brother, I am tired of being expected to deal with a literal effing criminal. So, I know I am coming on here for validation, and would appreciate validation. But, I think I just need to know it straight. Am I in the wrong here? /relevant comments. Commenter. You're not heartless, you're just done bleeding for someone who kept handing the knife back. Protecting your peace after years of chaos isn't cruel, it's necessary. Ops response. Thank you, man. It seems like everyone who didn't want to help the first time around wants to chime in and say how I am wrong. She went back to him after everything he effing did to her, and even me. Why am I expected to undo the choices an adult made? You don't understand how validating it is to hear someone understand that I have to put myself first. Thank you, man. Commenter 2. Not the jerk. It usually takes a woman multiple attempts to leave an abusive partner. If I remember correctly, the average is 7 attempts. Abusers have a variety of tactics to draw on, and they'll use every one to keep control. That said, you're under no obligation to keep risking yourself and your friends to pull her out, especially after what she did to Mark. I don't blame you for closing that door. I hope she gets away and stays away, but you do not need to be a part of it. You warned her before. Commenter 3. Not the jerk, and I say it as a victim of abuse. I say it as a daughter of a woman who was horribly abused. You trying to help her won't do crap. You will only risk your own well-being. I am done with Reddit crying and saying that you should put your own ass at risk again. I would never let my brother be at risk of my abuser. Don't you dare take this dumpster of fire back in again. Screw Mark, it's about your own safety. Commenter 4. It really sucks, but you have to look out for yourself. One thing I learned in therapy is you cannot be someone else's life raft. You just end up drowning with them. She made a stupid decision to get back with him despite you telling her the consequences. She has to live with that. He might kill her, but there is no guarantee he won't kill you too should you choose to intervene again. I would wash my hands of it, and maybe I am a total jerk, but I could live with it if she got herself killed. I wouldn't feel she deserved it because no one deserves to be a domestic violence victim. But I am also not collateral damage for someone else making dangerous and crappy choices. I would honestly block all the relatives that say you should help her. Tell them to go help her or shut up. Not the jerk. Update 2 days later. So the events in the previous post occurred 2 to 3-ish days ago, and some stuff has happened since then, and since I posted it as well. First of all, thank you to the people who understood what it was like and told me I shouldn't have to clean up after another adult. That was so validating to hear. I know the tide changed a bit after, but I'm putting myself first for the first time in my life. Some clarification first, just because Mark's cousin is my boss doesn't mean I can slack. Mark's cousin's connection helped me land a stage 1 interview. I had to go through 3 to 4 rounds of the interview process like every other applicant. It's just that the company usually hires internally for my position, but I was able to come in externally because of Mark's cousin. I only got the job after the guy they initially hired jumped ship for a better job at another company. I don't know why people assumed I can skate by at my job. Plus, Mark and his cousin aren't tight, and his cousin is straight-laced and direct to the point. So after the fiasco at my workplace, where I gotta make a living, I'm chill with the security guards. As per my boss's, Mark's cousin, suggestion, I handed the photos of my sister and her description to building security so that they can make sure I don't get harassed next time, and they can threaten legal action and trespassing if she doesn't heed warnings of not crossing into private property. I live in a gated apartment community, so I followed through with the same thing with the leasing/security office for them. Sure enough, the next day, she tried showing up to my apartment complex and using my code to scan in. I gave my code to my parents just in case they visit. They must have leaked it to her. She was escorted away, but she must have thought she could just wait at the door. Unfortunately, it was hard to hear, but she was kicking and screaming and begging them to call her brother, and that I still love her for sure. Oh man, it effing hurt to hear. Did a number on me. Suffice it to say, this blew up even more in the family group chat. You got security to chase away your sister, etc. I'm legit getting threats. My mother sent me a long-ass text about how she should have aborted me, or prayed for a effing miscarriage lol. 1 minute they're angry I'm ignoring their calls, next minute I deserve to have never been born. And somehow, I'm the bad guy still, by the way. Anyway, Mark didn't know about any of this. She showed up to his workplace the same day she came to my apartment. Mark was respectful but said he couldn't help her due to his mental health. He said he would try to talk to me. And yeah, he talked to me and told me if I'm punishing her for what she did to him, it's not needed, and I should just help my sister out. I kinda broke down and cried, yeah, I know, and told him it's not that, it's just me putting myself first. I'm tired of having to be the one to clean up after her mess always. He understood. As for my cousin who was supposed to come to help her, lo and behold, guess who suddenly got some work when he realized he would have to provide financial support or a place to stay for her? That's right, the guy who criticized me for not helping has ghosted the family. My dad is not able to visit due to some reasons. And my mom, unknown to me, guess they never wanted to mention it, is actually immobilized in her leg from a partial stroke or something. I don't know what it is, I just know it's something. She can't come cause she can't move and can't afford to miss physical therapy sessions. Had to find out through a second effing cousin, who also called to berate me. So it's hinging on my dad now, who's also old and unable to travel cause of some paperwork issue or something. Once again, I'm not being kept in the loop here. I feel horrible about all of this. I hate Jared and hope he's brought to justice. But I am in line for a promotion at work. I may be able to get my dream role. I'm putting in extra hours. I can't afford to throw away my life or endanger everything I built for her again. Cause even if I throw everything away to help her, I can live with it if she's fine. But she may just go back to that F again. I'm putting myself first. My friends have been shocked but supportive. Only they get me, since they saw the initial nuclear fallout I had to deal with. Cause it's not an if anymore, my family cuts me off, so be it. I'm okay without them. They've done nothing but make me a scapegoat for all their issues, beyond this too, their entire life. I hate those parasites. Anyway, thanks for letting me vent, guys, and sorry for not having a more positive update. Hopefully my last update on the situation. I want to just live my life and focus on myself. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Next time your sister shows up, can you just drop her off on a bus or train back to your parents' home? Then, she'd finally be their problem. Ops response. To be honest, I don't even want to see her, plus my parents live across the Atlantic back home in their home country. I don't even think my sister would survive there, because neither of us knows our native language and we've never been there. And also, she's in a terrible condition. Bloody, beaten, bruised, black eye, swollen shut, cuts, literally has gashes over her body and on her lip, etc. I can't bear to see her like that, it makes me almost throw up. She looks like she's been in a boxing ring. It's horrible. The last time I saw her like this was when I had to get her out the first time. I fear if I see her once more, I may not have the strength to walk away and make the right choice. So for my sake, I can't see her anymore. Commenter 2. Agree with the commenters below, you're handling this way better than most people would. And I'm glad to hear that your boss is good with you. He had the right idea about giving her picture and description to the security desk. Is there any way to clear your name with some of your colleagues? Is there someone in your workplace that you trust, that you can take out for coffee and explain it all, get their help? Ops response. Nah, my name's dragged through the mud there. I'm competing against another lady for the promotion I mentioned, and she was very quick to hop on this and call me a patriarchal misogynist among other buzzwords. A lot of people are on her side. She's always controlled the social scene among the desk jockey management like us. Thankfully, she was confirmed to be out of the running behind the scenes, and it's just me and another lady. She's nice and didn't hop on it at all, she just does her own thing always. My bosses and corporate don't care about behavior, only results. I don't know why she thought dragging my name in front of them would help her in any way, when I've exceeded her quarterlies by a minimum of 17% every quarter since I've joined. She's older than me and has worked longer than me, so I figured she would understand how soulless and ruthless corporate is about caring about results only. I'm not sure what her move was. If I get the promotion in a couple of months, which seems likely, I'm gonna transition slowly and become full-time at the corporate HQ on the other side of the country. No point in engaging in drama trying to clear my name now, in my opinion. As long as the people in charge of the decision know the truth, I'm okay with it. Commenter 3. Are you familiar with the golden child/scapegoat dynamic? I'm probably reading too much into several of your comments, but it sounds like there are two problems coming from your parents. 1. Your sister can do no wrong and must be supported, catered, and deferred to in all things, the golden child, and 2. You are required to be the one to fix family problems. No one else will put in a tenth of the effort they expect of you, the scapegoat. If that's the case, it might well be time to step back from your family. Maybe talk to a therapist, spiritual leader, or trusted friends. Find your peace. Ops response. Oh my god, this is what it is. My parents have always had a soft spot for her because she was a preemie and they thought she wasn't going to make it the first few months. Thank you, I didn't realize there was a name for it. I've always had to be the older brother and clean up after her and always put up with anything she does. I still love her, but I just don't have it in me anymore. Probably going to do therapy because even though I feel like I made the right choice, every time I close my eyes I still see her bruised, cut, gashed, beat body. I think it's definitely messing with me more than I like to admit. Commenter 4. Maybe this has been asked, but why haven't your parents sent for her? She could go live with them and help them maybe? Ops response. So my parents retired to our home country. However, she and I were born and raised in America. We've never been to the old country and can't speak our native language either. Normally this is something that you can adapt to and adjust to over time. However, in her words, not mine, she thinks the motherland is a craphole country and she would never set foot in that craphole. My parents have always catered to her needs, so even now post-retirement, they always come to see us. I've never gone to see them either because they usually come and see me after catching up with her. Basically, just an extenuation of her self-hatred/internalized racism, in my opinion, is why she can't go back there. I think she would legitimately prefer this situation to staying even temporarily with my parents over there, which is why she's never taken them up on their offer. Second update 5 days later. I'm a bit numb. I didn't think I would make another update, but things have happened. On Sunday, all I know or heard from family was that my sister went back to Jared and worked things out and didn't need help. Last night, Jared's sister, who is also my sister's BFF, I put it in quotes cause no real BFF would allow their friend to stay with an abusive partner even if it's their brother, showed up randomly. She was cordial and said things have changed, and that my sister sent her. Long story short, unknown to my family and me, Jared had been cheating on my sister, repeatedly, and yeah, what a shock, totally out of character. She was disappointed, and he denied it. She had the smart idea that getting off birth control, lying to Jared, and baby trapping him would fix their relationship. The reason she was trying to get away from Jared and didn't want the police involved was that she wanted to tell him in a safe space and go back after he calmed down. He was beating her because he didn't know why she was trying to leave. Well, she ended up telling him on Sunday in the presence of Jared's sister, and he surprisingly didn't get mad. He hugged her and said it doesn't matter, I've always wanted a family, and promised to change for their little miracle. My sister also sent a letter with Jared's sister confirming everything. She wants me to be their little miracle's godfather. A letter from Jared too, apologizing for the past and asking to forgive the dad of my nephew or niece and be one family with them. Deadbeat thinks I'll hand over cash, I suspect. I sent Jared's sister out in a nice and respectful manner, and told her I would contact my sister when I felt like it. I sat down to process this news and called my family, after unblocking them. 2-hour conversation with my dad, and the biggest worry for him was something along this: that kid will be, slur for an illegitimate kid, if it's born like this, and taint our bloodline. I'm coming over and getting them married, so that we don't have to dishonor our lineage. No mention that she's having a kid with an abusive piece of crap, and she doesn't work and Jared can't hold down a job. When I mentioned that, he said, "It's okay, I can send money. Whatever happened, too late now, help me fix it," instead of being pessimistic. Of course, they'll pay for their angel and their angel's grandkid. I'm totally numb. I feel like the only sane person. Apparently Jared said, "I hope she's a daughter who looks like her mom," and it made my sister swoon. I'm in effing shock. These jerks are bringing life into the world like it's nothing. I'm not a religious person, but I do consider the act of bringing life into the world as sacred and not something done so callously. My sister's inability to protect herself was one thing, but knowingly bringing in a kid to be raised in that effing toxic environment? I have lost all respect for her. It's effing insane. And my family doesn't give a crap. They don't care if their grandkid is abused as long as that grandkid is legitimate. What the actual F is wrong with these people, man? I told my friends, Mark and the others. I took off work today to sit down and process this crap. It's one thing when she makes mistakes and I get dragged into it. She's not understanding her craziness is going to impact an innocent effing child that didn't ask to be born into this crap. I'm so goddamn clueless, I don't know what to do. When I told my folks they said, "Well, she doesn't want to abort it or anything. Are you willing to take care of your nephew or niece?" No man, I don't want to take care of the kid cause I got my own life, but I also don't think that bars me from criticizing her choices. What the actual F? They can't raise the kid either, cause they're a bunch of old Fs. I just wanted to get this off my effing chest. I know I cussed a lot, I apologize. I'm dealing with the fact that reality is presenting me a nephew or niece who's gonna be born to grandparents that value the kid's legitimacy over the kid's life, a mom that's obsessed with its dad, an abusive deadbeat dad, and an uncle that doesn't know how to, and probably might not be able to help, especially if I move for work, and the fact I've never wanted kids to begin with. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Stay away from the whole mess. You can't fix it. You can't help someone who is purposely making awful choices. Just go no contact with everyone to save yourself the heartache. It gets worse from here, but at no point will it be your responsibility. Ops response. I am determined to cut my family off, But my heart effing aches for her future kid. Poor kid didn't ask to be born into this crap show, man. I hate her so much for bringing a kid into the mess she got herself into. This is so effed. She's literally told me about how whenever Jared babysits his older brother's kids, he plays rough with them. I'm worried about the kid. My parents, her, and Jared can all F off. Commenter 2. Tip off the equivalent of Child Protective Services wherever you are, as well as the hospitals where your sister is likely to give birth, with your concerns that the child will be living in an abusive and toxic environment. With any luck, they'll be able to keep an eye on the family, especially if there is a police record of domestic violence. Commenter 3. If he does, she will deny he beat her and likely accuse Op's response. This is my cause for concern with this option as well. My friends have told me not to make any decisions without consulting a lawyer if I do go down that route. I will be contacting a lawyer if I choose to get involved in this capacity. To a deleted commenter. Sorry, I really don't give a F about her. Maybe there was a chance before, but now she's willingly bringing a kid in, knowing the kid's father might beat it. She lost all my respect the moment I learned she, not by accident but intentionally, and is proudly admitting to it, baby trapped a piece of crap dude. I just care about the kid, but I don't know what I can do. Story 2. AITA for spending Christmas/New Year with my ex-in-laws because my family invited my ex over for Christmas? Posted by you/intrepid_cut337. Basically, we split after she came out as a lesbian at the start of 2025. We're both 42 now, and we were together for nearly 17 years. I wanted no contact with her, which I've been able to maintain relatively well. My family had a relationship with her, which I can't avoid. Their excuse is that she's been in their lives so long she's part of the family herself, but it hasn't affected me up until now. My ex and her own family always got along, and I had a great relationship with them myself, particularly her mom. When she came out, they all fell out, and they disowned her. They're from a Caribbean background, so there's an element of homophobia there. The original plan for Christmas and New Year was that I was going to spend the time at my folks'. It would have been nice after the year I've had. But at the start of December, my mom told me she spoke to my ex, and since she had no one to spend Christmas with, she invited her to have dinner with us. I wasn't happy with that at all, and my mom basically said she hates the thought of someone having no one at Christmas. So I said I don't think I want to go, and I'd rather spend Christmas on my own. She thought I was being dramatic. Not long after that, I received a Christmas card from my ex-in-laws, so I rang them and thanked them. It was lovely to catch up, and my ex-mother-in-law asked me what I'm doing for Christmas. I told her about my situation and said I don't think I'm going to my folks, and she invited me to spend Christmas with them and said I'm always welcome. I said why not, and I'd go and stay with them. I told my mom a few days before that I'm definitely not going, and she was gutted, saying I should reconsider. I went to my ex's family, and I had a great time. They made proper Caribbean food, curry goat, and I enjoyed their company. I enjoyed it so much that I stayed until New Year. I'm definitely going to stay in contact. I even reconnected with my ex-sister-in-law while I was there. I dare say there was a bit of flirtation, but I didn't act on it, although I still might. The year's young yet. She did give me her number and said we can go out anytime. When I got back home yesterday, my mom was angry with me. She said I ruined Christmas and that I was a bad person for spending time with people like my ex-in-laws. Apparently, loads of people in my family aren't happy with me too. Am I the jerk for spending time with my ex-in-laws over my own family because they invited my ex? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. You basically got each other's family in the divorce, LMFAO. Commenter 2. Your mom hates the idea of someone being alone for Christmas, so she invited your ex over, who she knew you went no contact with. And when you explained that would leave you being alone for Christmas, she doubled down on picking your ex over you. Going no contact with someone means they did real harm to you. Your mom put someone who hurt you deeply over you. Your mom said she would rather you be alone for Christmas, or suck it up buttercup, and be manipulated into being around someone who hurt you enough to go no contact. This is the core, not the ex-in-law's beliefs, effed up though they are. Your mom can kick rocks. She has no right to be pissy with you for not going along with her BS plan to emotionally manipulate you into being a doormat. Your ex-in-laws have growth work to do. I hope they are able to get beyond the seed of hate that was planted in them and move towards being the loving people they otherwise appear to be demonstrating themselves to be. Commenter 3. Big ol' everyone sucks here. Your mother sucks for not respecting your desire not to see your ex, despite the fact that she's trying to do something nice for someone who's been hard done by. You suck for choosing to reward homophobia, generally, but also specifically, because if your ex's family weren't homophobes, you'd never have ended up in this situation. So you're rewarding not only homophobia in general, but their specific treatment of their daughter. Kinda tempted to say you might even be a bit of a jerk for wanting no contact with someone who was in your life for 17 years and who you haven't mentioned doing you any mischief, someone who just found out/faced a truth about herself. But without knowing the specifics, I'll hold off on that. For all we know, she was a jerk about it. And lastly, your ex's family suck because they're homophobes who disown their own child for being gay. Ops response. You shouldn't just assume things about people then. Some of the things I found out wrecked me. That she was never truly attracted to me, loved me but wasn't in love with me, had to think of women just to get off, and only chose me because I was nice and not abusive like her exes. And just assumed we'd be friends. I certainly wasn't about to give her one more day of my time, pretend like nothing happened. I went to some of the only people in the world who actually love me and give a crap about what I went through. So no, I'm not about to keep someone in my life who essentially conned me and stole 17 years of it. Commenter 3. Can't help but notice you addressed the one point I said I would hold off on, and ignored the rest. Ops response. Because that one point annoyed me, that I might be a jerk over our breakup when you didn't know anything about me or her. I don't have anything to say about the rest, it is what it is. Okay, I'm a jerk, fine, I'll take it. I'd rather be a jerk than lonely on Christmas Day. Update 6 days later. This week, I had some missed calls from my cousin's daughter's number, second cousin? Not sure of the technical term. Her and my mum are close, and she was like a little sister to me as a teenager, as she looked after her for her mum when she went to work. So I rang her back and she went off her head at me, calling me every piece of crap under the sun. I tried to give her my side, she wasn't having any of it, so I basically told her to F off. She blabbed to her own mum, who then sends me message after message on her social media about how I spoke to her daughter, a effing 30-year-old woman no less, and how I'm treating my mum. I just blocked her. I'll probably hear about it soon enough. She's a narcissist who lies to make herself look better, so will no doubt spin it to my uncle, other cousins, and everyone who'll listen. I don't care, if anyone else says crap, I'll block them and cut them off and all. It's obvious there my mum's been talking crap about it, so I basically rang her and confronted her. She admitted it, that she told people because she was hurt. I said basically she has no idea of the word, and she, my dad, and ex hurt me more than anything I could do to them. I told her I don't want to talk anymore and don't bother ringing me, I won't bother ringing her. I got some texts later on from her, really long ones, and I just deleted them without reading and blocked her number for now. Since I haven't been speaking to her, not just this week but since Christmas, regularly, I've been so much less stressed. It's made me realize how much I'm leeched off by her. For all my adult life, she's rang me twice a day and we speak for at least half an hour each time. Well, I say we speak, it's usually a case of her talking and me listening. And it's all trauma dumping too. The past few years it's been worrying about my dad, worrying about her health, worrying about the dog, crying about certain cousins who died, even talking about how she thinks she's going to die. Effing twice a day, I've had it for years. Ironically, my ex used to say I deserve a medal for putting up with it for so long, and now she's up their asses. How does that work? Despite this situation being crap, I feel like a burden's been lifted. I heard from my ex-mother-in-law. I wished her Happy New Year and she messaged me back and we've been texting back and forth. It feels like a genuine conversation, like someone who actually cares about what I have to say. She said I'm invited to her birthday due in March and I am going to go. I know that won't be popular with you who say I shouldn't be in touch with bigots or the like, but they're the only people on earth at the moment who care about me and I dare say love me, so I'm not about to give that up and be on my own. I've also messaged ex-sister-in-law back too. We've spoke a bit and she's not looking for anything serious as she's just got out of a bad relationship herself, so it'll be a casual/FWB thing more likely. Suits me, as that's where I am too. We might hook up soon actually, not gonna lie, very excited by the prospect. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Of all the people in the world, you're going after your ex-sister-in-law? You're asking for drama. Commenter 2. You're trying to sleep with your sister-in-law and think you're a victim? You're even hanging out with her family, but making a huge fuss about her hanging out with your family? Her family disowned her, and your family are there for her. What's your problem? You sound like an idiot. No wonder your relatives think you're a jerk. Ops response. More that people have a problem with me being close with her family, yet think it's okay for her to steal mine. My problem is that my family weren't there for me, yet they were there for someone who ruined my life essentially. If I'm a jerk, it's because I've been raised by jerks. Commenter 3. Hooking up with ex-sister-in-law isn't a good idea. Heal yourself before stepping into a new relationship, though. I don't know whether your ex was always a lesbian and married you to appear normal, or discovered later that she prefers women. Either way, it's a crappy situation to have given 17 years of your life only to be tossed out like you didn't matter. Her sexuality is not in her control, but being honest and open about it with you was in her hands. Sadly, it didn't work out. The worst thing is your own family choosing to be for her. While I understand that she got disowned by her own family, it's so wrong to not care about your own child first. Seeing how your mother is, I can think she thrives on a mixture of being glorified as the best person and martyr for having gone through so much in life, both ways to gain attention. Do you realize that maybe your ex's family must be doing this not out of care for you, but to send a point to her or hurt her intentionally to show what she is missing out on? Temporarily, it may feel good to enjoy their company, but be aware that they may not care for you. And blood is thicker than water. They might forgive her one day. What will you do then? Find your own tribe. Start afresh. Neither family is good to repair your hurt feelings. Find new hobbies. Get a pet. If you're not allergic, seriously consider getting a pet. They give so much unconditional love in return for the love and care that you provide. You're capable of love. You proved it for the past 17 years. Trust me, getting a pet will be worth it. May this new year bring you a lot of healing and happiness. Everyone sucks here, for wanting to date ex-sister-in-law out of spite. Ops response. I hate how people talk about her honesty. So many people have said that to me in the past year, and every time, I just want to scream. I'd have preferred the honesty maybe 5, 10, or even 17 years ago. They may not care for me, but you know what, I feel loved in the moment. It's probably about the least lonely I've felt in ages. I had a pet, a little cat I loved. She took it. I never want to go through that again. Commenter 4. You wrote a post that tries to imply your ex was evil, but didn't mention your ex stole your cat? Ops response. I do not want to talk about it, really. Too painful. Story 3.
My brother and his fiancée of nearly 2 years are planning a wedding that is an etiquette nightmare, and I'm not sure how to handle it. Posted by you/the Dreaming Myriad. This is going to be a wall of text, so I apologize in advance. My 26F brother Andrew, 22M, and his fiancée, Christy, 21F, have been planning their wedding for over a year now. The date is set for April 25th of 2015. Initially, she had asked me to be a bridesmaid, but after she also wanted my daughter to be a flower girl, my husband to be a groomsman, me to do her makeup and engagement photos as a gift to her, and help with details the day of, I felt it was too much on one plate. Also, quite frankly, I can't afford her very specific dress, floor-length ball gown, which she still has not selected, specific shoes, a tuxedo for my husband, a flower girl dress for my daughter, high-quality makeup in her skin tone, and over $500 in photo sittings and editing. It's just too much time and money that I don't have. I sat her and my brother down and gently let them know that I wouldn't be a bridesmaid, though I was honored she chose me, because I didn't think I'd be a good bridesmaid with so much on my plate. They seemed sad but took it well and, until recently, had no further problems. Fast forward to this past weekend. They came over for dinner and talked with me and my mom about their wedding plans. I'm just going to sum those ideas up here. They want to have their ceremony outside. We mentioned that it would almost certainly be freezing. On the same date this past year, it was 30 degrees with a 15 miles per hour icy wind and ice rain later in the day. Christy's response was, well, I should be warm in my dress, it's pretty heavy. They have a venue that has plenty of indoor area, so they can get married there in worst case scenario, but they basically have said unless it's snowing or pissing rain, it'll be outside. I'm sure her bridesmaids in their strapless dresses and flip-flops or slippers will love that. As for my 1-year-old daughter, I'm not forcing her to stay out in cold like that in a teen-length dress with no sleeves. I don't know how to politely say, I'm not torturing my daughter or risking her becoming ill because you want a spring wedding in a wintry month. As for the date, they refuse to change it. They've told us that April 25th has no significance, is not an anniversary, and has nothing to do with their relationship. But they will not change it, even though we've gently mentioned, hey, May should be much warmer and would definitely make it easier for an outdoor wedding, especially for your guests. Their response is that April 25th is the date, period. The guests don't matter because it's their day. Okay, fine, whatever. We'll bundle up, I guess. Their plan is to have the ceremony under a gazebo-type structure. A very old family friend got some online thing from some vague church so he could marry people. He loves it. We've all known him since we were young, and he offered to officiate my wedding and wrote a wonderful ceremony for a handfasting for my mom and dad's 25th anniversary/vow renewal, all completely for free. Andrew asked said family friend to officiate, and he accepted. Last night we told Christy and Andrew it's getting closer, so they need to meet up with the officiant so he can do an interview. They both asked, why? We explained that the officiant was a close family friend, that's why they asked him to do it, and he likes to get a feel for the both of you and your relationship so he can officiate a beautiful ceremony. They don't want that. They just want a general do you? Do you? You're now married. Okay. That seems to defeat the purpose of a personal family friend performing it, but if that's what they want. Anyway, then we asked what they were going to give the officiant for a gift. They both said nothing. No gift. Why do they need to give him a gift? They're also not paying him, as he's doing it for free. At this point, my mom and I are afraid to hear more. But we need to know what's going on. So after the ceremony, their plan is to go to a wedding luncheon. With the wedding party only. That would include his parents, her parents, me and the hubby, her bridesmaids, his groomsmen, and the flower girls/ring bearer. This would exclude the officiant and all the other guests, including her brothers and sisters, as well as my sister and brother. At this point, all other guests would be told to go get lunch, and I quote, wherever, and we'll meet back here in a couple hours. At this wedding luncheon, at a restaurant in the next town over that's about 20 minutes away, we are all supposed to foot our own bill. Then we drive back, and we, as in my family, including the ones not invited to the luncheon, set up the decor and everything else for the reception because Andrew and Christy will be getting ready. After we get everything taken care of, there will be cake cutting and dancing. And then the end on the wedding. No food, snacks, nibbles, cocktails, nothing like that will be provided during the course of this wedding. Andrew also dropped the bomb that my grandmother, my father's mom, would not be invited because she didn't remember who Christy was at my daughter's first birthday last month. The backstory on that? Let's start with the fact that she's 80. Then let's go on to the fact that she's met Christy once and only once, almost 2 years ago. Lastly, my grandma had 9 kids. Those 9 kids married? They all had a minimum of 4 children. Many of those children are now married and have children. My grandmother has over 65 grandchildren. I don't even know the exact number, I stopped keeping track years ago, about 10 of whom have recently or are about to get married. She's 80. She has a hard enough time keeping track of how many people are in her family, never mind what their names are. It was absolutely nothing personal that she didn't know Christy's name. She just forgot, it has been 2 years for Christ's sake. So despite her being the only living grandparent we have left, and despite her driving the hour here to make it to Andrew's school performances and sending birthday cards every year without fail to her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, Andrew included, she's now not to be invited. I know this is ranty, but all this plain, bald-faced rudeness is flooring me and I don't know how to handle it. My dad, once we told him his mom wouldn't be invited, was not only hurt but angry. He said he will not go if his mom is not invited. Andrew is insisting on not inviting any of the others from that side of the family, and with such high numbers I can understand, but at least inviting grandma would be polite, not to mention loving. My sister, my mom, and I put together a wedding planning book for them ages ago and gave it to them. It had tips for a small budget, etiquette, timelines, checklists, and a breakdown of what a basic wedding should have. We got info from multiple sources and spent the time collecting and printing it, but it's completely obvious they haven't looked at it at all. It's like they want this big and beautiful wedding, but they pick out anything that costs them money or means they have to work. Gifts for people who do us favors? Nah. Big princess wedding dress? Check. Supplying food and refreshment of some kind? Meh, they can go get Taco Bell or something. Exquisite floor-length gowns with exact matching specified cut and color for wedding party? Check. Paying for said gowns? Nah, too expensive for us, I'm sure everyone else can afford it. Am I being over the top? Is it just me? Or is this really ridiculous wedding behavior? I've been to maybe 6 weddings in my life, attended in 3, fully planned 1, and have helped plan another. I'm all for modern weddings where you throw the whole bride's family pays for this, groom's family pays for that out the window, but typically that cost shouldn't rest on your wedding party, guests, and pretty much anyone that isn't you. How do I explain to them the things that won't fly? I'm not freezing my infant because they're stubborn, and I'm certainly not going to pay for a tux, baby dress, makeup, dinner for me and my husband, and play pack meal to set up and take down their entire reception center. I don't care who you are, it's ridiculous and asking too much. Not that they asked if we would set up, they told us we would. I don't want to ruin their day. I want it to go well, I want everyone to enjoy themselves, but I can't force them to plan better. That's on them. So my question is how to handle it? Christy is super sensitive and takes literally any criticism as a personal attack, so I want to go delicately here. Also, Christy and I work together, so achieving peace here is very important. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I was all prepared to say it's their day, let them do what they want, because I'm not one for traditional weddings and such. However, they are wasting people's precious time here. No one is going to want to go to their wedding, leave to get lunch somewhere, and then come back several hours later to watch them dance and get cake. They are demanding a whole day for something that doesn't need it. They should just do a cake and punch thing directly after the ceremony, and be done with it if they don't want to serve a meal to their guests. Ops response. I guess that's where I'm at. Why rent this huge space and try to do the big wedding when what they seem to want is a small one? I don't understand, but they don't see anything wrong with that. Commenter 2. Are they paying for the wedding? Ops response. Her parents bought her dress and offered $2,000 to go towards anything they want. My parents offered to pay for the gazebo, their pick of the huge box of wedding things from a wedding I didn't go through with, and just all around help. My dad is about to be laid off, so my parents can't afford much, but that hasn't stopped my mom from offering to sew flower girl and bridesmaid dresses, buying fabric swatches of their colors so they always have them on hand to pick out matching wedding stuff, and attempting to help with planning. Commenter 3. This is insane. Have they been hitting the sauce? Honestly, if I were in your shoes, I would tell them your boundaries. Yes, I will help with, say, putting on makeup, but the bride needs to pay for all of it. No, I will not let my daughter be out in inclement weather. As for all the oddities and rudeness you've pointed out, maybe you should let someone else step up and talk with them. As your parents are partially footing the bill, I think they can address at least a few things that involve them. Ops response. Discussing it with my mom, it seems like this is the most reasonable option. Commenter 4. Is your brother anything like you? Has he changed to be like her? Does he pander to her every whim? You sound well-adjusted, and everything you say has merit. A wedding is their day, true, but attending it as a guest is literally a gift to the couple in itself. You care enough to attend and be a part of it, that's what they should be grateful for. It seems like they only care for themselves, and everyone else is just their cash cow. The two people you've described seem unspeakably selfish. I understand you work with this girl, and he's your brother, but both are young and naive sounding in your post. I am younger than yourself, but older than these two, and I don't consider myself ready for marriage. These two don't seem so either. While you can go for the don't make it your problem approach described here, if my 21-year-old sister was acting this way, I'd be laying some knowledge on her. Perhaps get the couple and your parents together, the core family, and make them listen to your concerns. This wedding will definitely make them lose face with your extended family, and I think usually it's best to avoid that. Ops response. And therein lies the problem. They both are immature. Andrew has always been a little less mature, so when he met Christy, we didn't think it was a big deal that she was too. He definitely caters to her. She'll rip his head off in front of people at work when he brings her lunch, or even in front of my parents in their own home, and he responds with a yes dear or sorry honey. She chose the date, and I think he won't even talk about changing it with her because he doesn't want to fight. Honestly, I don't think they are even remotely ready to be married, but approaching them with that would be a surefire way to get Christy to hate me and Andrew to feel alienated. I try to get info from Andrew and then use that to gently encourage them to strengthen their relationship, because I really do want them to be happy. But I think they've both encouraged habits in one another that have only served to prevent maturity and growth. For instance, Andrew was offered free couples counseling through his work. They had been having trouble communicating, so Andrew thought it would be good to go. Christy refused to go after the first visit because it was uncomfortable and she didn't like it. I mentioned that counselors don't solve all problems, but they can give you tools to succeed, like solving conflict, healthy confrontation methods, and communicating with I statements rather than you. I crap you not, this is what she said to me. Yeah, well, I don't like that because I like to blame people for my problems. Plus, when we fight, I don't like talking it out, I just want to hide in the bedroom. Basically, I just said, well, you'll never have a healthy relationship that way, and left it at that. But Andrew won't push issues like that. He just says she doesn't want to and leaves it there instead of finding a way to get her to go. We can't stop them from getting married, even though we know it would be better for them in the long run. So we try to be supportive, but I think my family and I need to start teaching him and her how we should be treated, starting with putting our feet down on ridiculous wedding demands. Op adds an edit to her post. I sincerely appreciate all of you taking the time to weigh in and offer advice. Just knowing that I'm not the only one thinking this is rude and crazy helps. After talking to my parents and showing them this thread, they decided to talk to Andrew this weekend about a select few things. They should put that they're not serving any food or refreshment on the invite so people know they won't be fed, as this isn't typical for a wedding. Grandma really should be invited. The officiant, since he is an old friend and is doing it for free, needs a gift. As for me, I'm going to set some boundaries with this wedding, mainly with what I will and won't do and how my daughter will be kept warm during the wedding. I will post a real update on the convo with my brother after it happens. Thanks again, everyone. Update 4 days later. So Christy actually texted my mom in a panic on Tuesday night because her mom had added some names she didn't know to the guest list of her side of the family. My mom just told her that she could help her and had her come over to talk. Christy brought over her wedding planning book and sat down with me and my mom. My mom asked her about the wedding plans, confirming that they intended to have no meal, that all the wedding party would pay for their own meal, etc. Christy confirmed. My mom, the saint of offering constructive criticism in the nicest way possible, said to Christy, I worry about this plan potentially hurting feelings, on your family's side as well. Do you mind if I explain why I think that? Christy was pretty receptive. She said she didn't want anyone to have their feelings hurt and asked what was offensive. My mom posed this rhetorical situation. I guess you got this idea from my sister. Okay, Christy. Imagine your parents invited you over for Christmas. You drive the 3 hours to their house, you dress in your best Christmas sweater, and you show up with gifts. Everyone is happy to see you and you hug and visit for a while. Your parents and some of your family then tell you that they are going to dinner. You can't come, but you can go to McDonald's or something. They let you know they'll be back in about 2 hours, so just hang out in the yard or wherever. When they get back, they let you back in the house so you can watch them eat the Christmas cookies they made for themselves, open only their presents, and play some Christmas music. Once that's all done, they say, thanks for coming, see you next year. And boot you out the door. Would your feelings be hurt? My mom is a funny and lighthearted storyteller, so at this point, Christy had laughed a couple times, with a kind of sad note in there, and also said, oh, several times as well. Christy spoke up and said she absolutely understood how that related to their current wedding plans. Seriously, it was like until that moment, she could see literally nothing wrong with their plans. She explained that they pretty much only had the budget of the $2,000 her parents were giving her to work with, and she was afraid a meal would cost too much. She also expressed frustration that Andrew didn't really help with the planning, he just kept saying, whatever you want when she asked for his opinion. My mom and I explained that Andrew probably just wanted the day just the way she wants it because it's always stressed that it's the bride's day. We gave her some tips for engaging Andrew to really get his input. At this point, she had really broken down and we were able to see her a little more for what she is, a young and naive 21-year-old girl, granted, with a bit of a passive aggression issue, in way over her head, running on little to no help with an event she has no idea how to plan. After chit-chatting a little bit, we talked about different ways to pull off an affordable wedding. We pitched ideas, and she either said she loved it, she'd think about it, or no. She liked the idea of having a small ceremony with the 50 people they really wanted to be there. After that, there would be a luncheon, provided by them this time. After that would be the reception, where the guests her mom added and anyone else that wasn't really close to them could come to celebrate. There would be a light refreshment for that. She is really not concerned about what the luncheon is, but would like it to be as low cost as possible, but not tacky either. My mom, my sister, Christy, and I are going to brainstorm in the next few weeks and look at prices to see what we can find within their budget. Then we'll all get together and let Christy, and Andrew if he decides to join, decide which ideas she likes best for both the luncheon and the reception refreshment. Oh, and as for Grandma, when Christy handed over the guest list from Andrew, she was on there at the bottom. We hadn't talked about it, but he must have realized that Grandma deserved to be at his wedding. On my part, I mentioned to Christy I was worried about my little one in inclement weather, and she said they had decided they would plan on doing the ceremony indoors because it was likely the weather would be bad. She still wants to reserve the gazebo just in case it's nice, but she seems much more realistic about the weather situation now. I'm also going to buy grocery store makeup for her makeup for the wedding, nice stuff but not too pricey. And I've let her know that my hands will be full with the baby, so takedown and setup of decor and such will be next to impossible for me. Both my mother and I suggested requesting the help of their bridal party, groomsmen and bridesmaids, to help with the things that needed to be done the day of. She said she was sure that they would be willing to help, but that she'd ask. Many of them are young, single, and childless, so hopefully they'll be more able to help out. She also was asking about a bridal shower. One of her sisters had already volunteered to throw the dough party, but no one in her family had made mention or offered to throw her a bridal shower, so my mom and I are talking about doing that. When I was, almost, married, I had 2 bridal showers, and people were offering to throw one for me left and right. I feel badly that her family is not doing that. All in all, I feel much more comfortable with what I've agreed to do for them, and I'm happy that we were able to help Christy. In the original thread, u/half-ash and Solo mentioned that all their plans had been met with negativity. I think this caused them, especially Christy, to shut down and just say, screw everybody, this is our day. Really, they just don't know how to plan a wedding, and we all could see that. Rather than seeing that we wanted to help, I think they just heard the negativity of it. Sitting Christy down and explaining that we had some ideas that we thought could help, and that we in no way wanted to force her to do anything she didn't like, well, it helped a lot. We let her know that she should say no if she hated an idea or if she felt we were getting too involved. We still think they need to plan their own wedding, but we've also become more approachable for help in this regard too. No, we're not going to plan the wedding, but if they're stumped on something or want input, we've offered to help if we can. We'll see as time goes on whether they stick with it or if they fall back into the we don't care about anyone else mode. I still feel that they have a lot of growing up to do, and hopefully they can do it together and build a lasting relationship for the rest of their lives. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Your mom handled it so much better than I would have. Commenter 2. It's awesome that you guys could all sit down together and help her come to these realizations. Hopefully, the day will go off without a hitch, be tasteful and frugal, and everyone will have a good time. Second update 4 months later. So much has happened in these past 2 weeks. Last Sunday, Christy told Andrew she wanted to come over and talk with him and my mom. Andrew assumed it was about wedding stuff because they were getting only a couple months away from the wedding, and they had not really done anything. So they could hear and go to talk in private with my mom. I was playing with the baby in the front room, and I could hear yelling and arguing coming from the back room they were in. I was worried they were having a brawl back there, but just figured they'd work out whatever the hell was going on. Well, they both left, and my mom fills me in. Christy didn't want to talk wedding. She brought Andrew over to tell him, in front of my mom with no prior warning, that she wasn't sure if she wanted to marry him anymore. She wrote a list of 4 things to show my mom that Andrew is doing or has done wrong that she thought couldn't be resolved. My mom told her to keep her list to herself and that they needed to go to couples counseling. At this point, Andrew got really upset because he had tried already to go to couples counseling with her 6 months ago, and she didn't like it because it was awkward, and I hate taking responsibility for stuff. I'd rather just blame someone else. For the record, that is not a joke or exaggeration, she literally said that out loud and didn't see a problem with it. Andrew also blew up because I guess when he had proposed to her, she had been hinting at it and pushing for it. He basically asked her why she wanted him to ask her just so she could break it off 2 months before. Anyway, I obviously knew they were having issues and just kept my space. Even though Christy seemed to be trying to pull my mom into it, my mom agreed it was their business and told them to get into therapy ASAP if they wanted to stay together. My brother gets counseling free through work, so they went to one session last week. I don't know how that went, I didn't ask. Oh, I forgot to mention. The Thursday before Christy called off the wedding, she went on an all-day hike alone with an old friend. He had been out of state for the past 2 years, Mormon missionary, and she wanted to catch up. They spent the whole day together in the mountains alone, and she posted on Facebook about how awesome it was. It actually pissed off almost everyone close to her, even her sister who thinks she does no wrong, because she's been vocal in the past about how opposed she is to Andrew even talking to a member of the opposite sex. She would literally yell at him and harass him about talking to old friends who just happened to be female or mentioning that he saw a friend in the grocery store and said hi. But no, it's okay for her to spend a whole day in the mountains with a dude. I complained to my sister but said nothing, until that Saturday, Valentine's. I asked Andrew what his plans were for the night, and he said, "Oh, Christy and her friend and I are going to dinner." Friend? He says, "Yeah, Zach, he just got back from a mission." So, same guy. I asked him if he was okay sharing his Valentine's Day dinner with another guy, and he basically said yeah, they're friends, so I want to meet him and he wants to meet me. I was shocked, really, but Andrew is trusting of her, so he's never been possessive like she's been with him. Next morning, Christy isn't sure if she wants to marry Andrew anymore. I work with Christy, for those who don't remember, and the next day she's telling people that she and Andrew haven't broken up yet. That it's just the wedding. For now. The day after that, she chopped all of her hair off in this really strange and unflattering haircut. Again, this is a thing she would get after Andrew for. He's always enjoyed putting bright colors in his hair, and he wanted to be daring and do his whole head a muted navy blue. She told him no. But then it's okay for her to go chop her hair to 1 inch long in the back and maybe 3 inches in the front. The day after that was the therapy session. Andrew seemed optimistic. That weekend, this past one, Christy mentions at work that she is going to visit her mom for the weekend. Her mom has always disliked Andrew, and I figured her mom would talk her out of the relationship permanently, but my brother was so tortured at this point that I thought that might be for the best. Cue this morning. I asked Christy at work how her weekend went, and she says, "Not good. Andrew and I broke up." I just said I was sorry about that and went back to work because I was not expecting that response and didn't know what on earth to say to that. I had no idea that they broke up, so I was then worried about how my brother was doing. She then goes on to say this massive paragraph, but the rest of the weekend was okay. Me and Zach hung out until way late Saturday night just talking. He had his homecoming in the morning. He's the only person that really knows what's going on with me and Andrew. He was really nice and just listened to me. We were laughing because I found a gray hair in his hair, and he was totally freaking out. Then we went to the homecoming in the morning, of course. I only went for the main meeting, so then I went to his house and waited for him to get home from church, which was awkward, but it was only his aunt and grandma there. But then we had the luncheon afterward and whatever, and it was fun. I was tired when I got home, so I took a nap. At this point, my work friend Alicia is just staring at me, waiting for my response. She looked at me like I was a grenade with a pin out. I couldn't even gather a thought or sentence to say, so Alicia pipes in and says, "I thought you were visiting your family this weekend?" See, I was. That's who I stayed with. Well, did you even spend time with your family? See, well, I did talk with my mom on Saturday and stuff. But mainly it was about Zach's home thingy? See, well, yeah. Christy continued to babble about various things, like how she was now going to head to California because her friend had offered to fly her out there. She couldn't go before because Andrew couldn't afford the airfare to go too. She was just so damn happy, it made me sick. When her sister arrived at work, yeah, I work with two of these bitches, they talked about Christy moving in with her sister and when and how and all that jazz. I stepped out to call my mom, and she told me immediately that she was helping Andrew move his stuff out of the apartment as we spoke. I told her to do it fast before Andrew changed his mind. My mom packed up all the wedding stuff Christy had not been coming over to work on and dropped it at our work once she'd finished helping Andrew. She literally dropped the box and shoved it towards Christy with her foot. I think my mom did not appreciate Christy's cheery, OMG hi, that she had used when my mom walked in the door. My mom was taking my sick little girl to the doc since I couldn't get time off work, so she came for the insurance card and left after. Christy and her sister went in the back room and tittered for a while after the unceremonious drop-off from my mom. How she's a horrible person and all that, I'm sure. I somehow remained calm through all this. I mean, I'm at work. This is personal crap, and I didn't want to talk about it in a professional place. But also, I'm so effing relieved. Christy is messed up. Her whole family has narcissism issues, and I'm so glad my brother doesn't have to tolerate her constant criticism, gaslighting, and verbal abuse anymore. He's now back home, and he is doing so well considering how fresh this all is. He told me he realized last week that it probably was over, but he wanted to give the therapy a shot. I think he also wised up about Zach. Near the end of my shift, I went to the bathroom. Thinking that urination somehow rendered me deaf while only being feet away, I heard Christy complaining that Andrew had just texted her and said, "So were you really staying with your parents? Or with someone else?" She was denying doing anything physical with this guy but did admit she'd been spending all her time with him lately. She definitely lost her effing weird peppy attitude after that text. I think it's because you can't play poor me when you're guilty of carrying on an emotional relationship with another person. Anyway, writing it all out gives me a peaceful feeling. I'm so heartbroken for Andrew, but he dodged a bullet. He wants to continue pursuing personal therapy through work so he can resolve the problems he felt he had in their relationship, thus avoiding them in a future relationship. I no longer have to tolerate a toxic person in my personal life. However, I do have to tolerate her and her borderline demonic sister at work. I feel I can handle this by simply reminding them to keep their personal crap home and be professional at work. I'm pretty sure I can handle it if they start being disrespectful towards him or my family at work. /relevant comments. Commenter. It was awkward, and I hate taking responsibility for stuff. I would rather just blame someone else. Holy crap, people say that? Andrew definitely dodged a bullet. Ops response. This is something she said on multiple occasions in front of me and my coworkers. It's just surreal to me. I don't understand how you can seem so self-aware, yet continue to behave in a fashion you are admitting is wrong. Commenter 2. This girl is an immature, self-centered piece of mess. Try to convince Andrew to block her on everything and not talk to her again, so there's less chance they will get back together. She might try to come crawling back to Old Faithful once the thing with Zach falls through. Ops response. I'm already getting that vibe. Luckily, Andrew is pretty steadfast to his word. He's dated a complete crazy before and did so well when she came crawling back. I'm sure Christy will be back as well. I think Zach is new and exciting, but the novelty will wear off. They do still have to sort out their lease, but once that's done, he has no reason to talk to her at all. We got everything out of the place today, so he gets to come back to the family home, back in his old room, and she gets to go to a now half-emptied apartment alone. It'll set in pretty quick that he's not coming back. Commenter 3. He's dated a complete crazy before. So this is a trend for him? Maybe he should get into counseling on his own to find out why. Ops response. The complete crazy was his first serious girlfriend. He actually had a couple of really healthy, though short, relationships between the first crazy and this crazy, but those all ended because they decided friends were better. He does want help from the therapist to spot early warning signs of incompatibility and unhealthy attitudes. He also wants to learn when to quit. Really, all of us kids have had at least one relationship that has seriously sucked. I think it's because our parents had their conflicts and always resolved them. My mom taught us compromise and conflict resolution when we were young. All issues were solved by talking it out, apologizing, and hugging afterward. This has been awesome help for me in my life, but when you're in love with someone who doesn't compromise or resolve conflicts, it can be detrimental. You're trying to compromise, but don't realize those things don't work if only one person is doing all the compromising and apologizing. We've all just had to learn that you should work at having successful relationships, within reason. Commenter 4. Oh wow. Andrew is really lucky, and you and your mom sound like pretty awesome people. The only annoying thing is now having to deal with them at work, but it sounds like you have a solid plan for any drama. I hope she plans on converting to Mormonism soon though. Nothing is gonna happen between her and her boy toy Zach until that happens. Ops response. My boss has made it clear on several occasions that he won't tolerate gossip and personal attacks at work. That hasn't stopped Christy's sister several times, but they're so passive-aggressive that if you say anything about them being inappropriate, they shut up and do things like slam doors instead. Maturity levels run super high in her family. Commenter 5. This girl is nuts. Willfully so, meaning, she isn't actually crazy, but is so self-centered and deluded that she chooses to act like a sociopath to people she claims to love. In regards to her deserved justice, I think she will get a bit of a wake-up call with Zach. A returned Mormon missionary might date and flirt with a girl like her, but unless she is willing to turn her life upside down and convert and stuff, I very much doubt she will end up marrying Zach either, though correct me if I'm wrong. I just can see her getting very upset when the man she left Andrew for tells her she isn't right for him either, and I'm a bit ashamed to say it's making me feel warm and fuzzy. Best of luck to you and your family op. It sounds like your brother is lucky to have such a loving support system, even if he was unlucky in love. I'm glad he's pursuing therapy, as I personally understand destructive patterns in dating. Ops response. She is basically an ex-Mormon. In assuming he would never date or marry her, I think you're correct. She's not a virgin, lived with a man out of wedlock for a year, and in many young Mormon eyes, she's used goods. I completely disagree with that mindset, but in her case, I get the warm fuzzies thinking about it as well.